Good evening, viewer. As we stand today, we are bringing you the local and international matches, analysis, and its scores. And today, we are with Alenur Jonjo and Gaucho Central, great football supporters and analysts. And this is Side Play. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Mahmoud Abdullahi. Alenur Jonjo, welcome to the show.
Nice to be here.
Gaucho Central.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show. We have the Kenya Premier League matches, the Kenya Premier League table. And now 18 matches played, half of the season. How do you see it?
I think it's a very interesting league this time round. So many teams are very competitive. Traditionally, we used to have teams like Gor Mahia, AFC Leopards dominating the Kenyan football scene. But now we are seeing some teams that are very, very resurgent, the likes of Sofapaka, Bandari FC, who are now topping the table. And Gor Mahia, even though they have 3 matches left, 3 matches in hand, I think this time around it's a bit more competitive as compared to the previous years. And some traditional giants like AFC Leopards are struggling. I think they're in position 13 in the table. So we are midway. We've played 18 games. We have almost half of that left. But it's very, very interesting at the moment. It's very, very interesting.
So you're not ruling Gor Mahia out?
Absolutely. They are the traditional giants in this country. So with 3 matches in hand, I think they can come back and sit comfortably on the top of the table. I don't rule them out at all.
Back to you, Gaucho.
Yeah, thank you. I'll also say Gor Mahia are the favorites with 3 games in hand, and they are now 3 points behind the leader now. With 3 games in hand, I think they can manage to win.
So far, so good. We have seen a lot of teams from Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru performing in the Kenyan Premier League. And since we know your football supporters, you are coming all the way from the Mandera and Garissa County. What are the challenges or the costs of not having a club from the northeastern side performing in the Kenya Premier League?
I think, to be honest, I blame the sports leadership in this country, the top brass, the sports top brass in this country, because I think they're not doing enough to go to the grassroots and look at teams that play in the villages and the small towns across Kenya. So I think the Ministry of Sports in this country really needs to wake up, maybe form a task force committee of experts and maybe coaches who can really look into the talents that are just being wasted in the villages and the small towns across Kenya. So it's more to do with exposure. I think the teams in far-flung areas like Mandera, Moyale, Marsabit, Isiolo, Garissa, Wajir, I think they've not been given the necessary exposure for them to come out and maybe exploit their talent the way it should be done. So for me, it's more to do with the scouting system in this country is very much behind. So it's important that the Ministry of Education maybe forms a task force committee Ministry of Sports forms a task force committee to really go and look into the talents that are being wasted.
And Gaucho, to continue with that topic, we have seen a lot of juniors and talents who are playing in the Somalian league, and they are paid more. So what is the costing of that? Because now that the northern people cannot provide a club, but you cannot tell me they cannot provide a single player.
They can provide, but they are going to Somalia. Let's say talk of the youngsters from the players, football players from northeastern Kenya, who are going and joining the league of participate in the leagues in Somalia. It's not that they are not paid in Kenya. They can be paid in Kenya, just the same way they are paid in Somalia. But the reason is that mostly Somalis, we are not up to the task. We don't want to believe that we may go far in football. Actually, talent can make you go far in life. So we don't pursue it as a career, our football. There are a lot of guys we know, youngsters who are very known in Mandera, like the Yobo, who is a traffic player. He was once back called into the Kenya Premier League, even his brother also. And there's another guy, Karash, from Kurdish FC. He was called they were called in Nairobi to participate. I think he was in one of the clubs in Premier League. I think he was registered under 18. So he was told to take part in the league, but as they believe that football is not It's not their career. They just in the hood they just play it to have fun, but I think they don't pursue it as a career. So that's why they're joining Somalia. So, but we have so many youngsters who can be ready and can be called to the Kenyan if they are given the chance, and they promised to maybe to advance their football career. So I'll say maybe they can fit into the Kenyan Premier League.
I think also to add on that, I think most of the people from Northeastern have a kind of a culture shock when they come to Nairobi. He's right, people have been called, like 2, 3, 4, 5 of them have been called. Even recently, 2 players, I know them personally, Faisal and Gamundi. They were called, they came to Nairobi, I think for Ulinzi Stars, they were in the academy. But you know now, adapting to the life of Nairobi is really difficult for them. It's a kind of a culture shock. And then they get homesick. Even in international football, players get homesick. So they stayed here for, I think, 10 days, 12 days. They couldn't adapt. They just left and went back to Mandera. So I think we need to give them some sort of counseling and guidance and maybe how to cope up with the life in Nairobi, because in Mandera or in Northeastern Province and the life in Nairobi is a complete difference. It's a complete difference. So I think there's a problem that's got to do with homesickness. Players come here, they miss home. They say that it's too cold, it's too busy, it's too noisy, like we miss the lifestyle back in Mandera, in Northeastern Province. So with proper counseling and guidance, I think
so we can call them to be part of this great Kenya. Being in the northern region, we are not to believe it, we are not Kenyans. So as my brother is suggesting, my colleague, he wants, we need to have a special group that can go into the grassroots and counsel those youngsters who cannot believe they can adapt to Kenyan system.
But when we look at the political side of the football matches in Northeastern, because we see a lot of the MCS, the governors, the member of parliament, like in Mandera and in Garissa recently, there are the women reps who are sponsoring the leagues. So when you say from the grassroots there is no an academy training, we cannot make that a reason, because at the end of the day, we see the leader has provided all materials that are needed, the cash and everything, so that they can provide a good team, a good understanding between several players from within the county, you see. So a player coming all the way from Mandera, going for a training in Kakamega, we cannot blame that. So for me, I was suggesting this issue of saying players are blaming the weather not to be an issue. Because recently, Al-Noor, we had a guy known as Aliaka, is from Garissa, I don't know if you know him, of Red Eagles. He played for Tusker for 1 good season, but the payment was poor. He went to Somalia and 150,000 a month. But in Kenya, it's poor. So basically, let's not blame the weather.
Okay, I think you didn't get my point. I didn't blame the weather. I said the kind of life that is exhibited across what we call down Kenya, and the kind of life in Mandera is totally different. It's kind of a nomadic lifestyle, and this is more of an urban lifestyle. So they cannot really fit. About the tournaments, you are saying that MCS and the political leadership that they try to organize for these tournaments, those things are true. But believe you me, I have participated in a football tournament hosted by a local MCA. We were told that you're going to be given 100,000 as eventual winners. But when we came, we were just given 2 crates of soda. We were told, you guys, you've played well, Jivinjari, take soda. We took some photos, we left. But in the first round, we were promised that if you win this tournament, you're going to be given 100,000. So I think we need to address this issue of corruption.
Yeah, before the issue of corruption, as my colleague has said, the political class who are speaking, they more like do it for PR, whatever, Yeah, it doesn't mean that they are investing on the youths. They don't want to bring out talent from the youths. So because when you participate a league, you'll be paid just like how they had said. You will just be given a crate of soda. You'll be served with a crate of soda. You will be having photos which will go uploaded to the websites and pages of those the social medias of those big political bigwigs. That's what we don't want to see in the Northern. We will say actually if they're to organize a tournament for the youths, let them be having, they'll provide the sporting kits. They will also need to provide training equipment, and even they will even try to improve the grounds these youngsters are playing. They need to have in the Geneva Stadium. There are very big teams like now Real Steamer. They are the recent champions. So, and even yesterday we saw they had a party. The benefit they got from there, it was just nothing. They even invested on themselves, incurred their own expense to appreciate the fans and all the teams that participated in Mandera East, who all stood with them as Mandera East. So I say even that cost they cannot even, it's not equivalent to what they get from the tournament as the Mandera East champions.
Okay. Now let's move on. Back to you, Alnur Jonjo. Kenya has qualified for the AFCON.
Good news.
So how do you see it, 2022 World Cup?
No, we are not there. The 2022 World Cup will come, but I think we need to be happy about the fact that we've reached the AFCON, which is going to be held in Egypt, June 2019. I think it's been a long time since we've been on the footballing scene. Kenya has been known as a sporting country, but just for athletics, maybe basketball or swimming. So I think as a country, we have the potential to go far. We have the potential to go far. And it's good news that we've finally qualified for the AFCON tournament that's set to be held in Egypt in June 2019. So it's a good thing.
With the likes of Burundi and Tanzania in the tournament, do you see Kenya going up to the quarters or the semis?
Okay, the first thing is it's a good news for the East African region. Tanzania, Burundi, Kenya. Tanzania bet Uganda to qualify for the African Cup of Nations. So I think now we can enjoy the moment. Let's not worry about whether we can win or whether we can go to the quarterfinals. They are traditional giants in the African Cup of Nations. They are the likes of the North African teams and the West African teams, Algeria, Tunisia, Egypt, these teams, Ghana, Ivory Coast. They are the traditional giants. But now, let's now first take the first step. Qualification itself is very, very, very important. Let's take the first step. Even if we are taken out in the group stage, we come back happy and then we try to do some two, three things and then we go far. So let's enjoy the moment and not worry about what the future holds for us.
And what about the Kenya Ministry of Sports system? Are they working good to provide a winning team for the Harambee Stars? Or what can you say? Because the Harambee Stars have been in a poor record.
I think the issue of welfare, it's a problem, not just for the football team, but generally, sports-wise, Kenya has been having an issue of management in terms of the funds that are accessed by the players. We look at the Rio Olympics, you know the saga, you know what happened. I don't want to say those ugly things, you know what happened. So mismanagement of funds that is meant for sporting activities, it's not a new thing. It's not a new thing. So I think we need to just step in and fight these cartels who are controlling the sporting arena, and they are taking charge of all the embezzlement and mismanagement of funds. I think if we get proper funding, we get proper funding from the government, but spending this money in the right channel, it's an issue. So I think it's an issue we need to address.
And what about the 2022 qualifications? Gaucho, are you ruling Kenya out or in?
Definitely I want to rule out Kenya. Why? Because Kenya having qualified to AFCON doesn't mean they can still make to the World Cup, you know. And there is this new proposal that they might increase. They're pushing for increasement of participants from 32 to 48. Still, I will say that's a very big benefit to so many countries. But I will still say even with that one in Kenya, I'll rule out Kenya to being participating in 2022. That's a dream come true.
I need to differ with my friend. We don't need to be prophets of doom. You know, we don't need to be prophets of doom really, because Kenya has qualified for the AFCON for the first time, I think, since 2004, when it was held in Tunisia. Now we have a chance. Infantino, the FIFA boss, was saying that there might be a proposal of changing the teams from 32 to 48. And even it was proposed that it will be held across two countries, Qatar and Oman. So if that comes true, and we pray it comes true, the participation of African teams will be from 5 to 9. So I think realistically, we have a chance. We have a chance. If it's being increased from 5 to 9, we have a chance. And then On the FIFA rankings, Kenya rose from position 95
To 81.
to 81. Yes.
That's a great improvement.
So I think we are doing well. We are doing well. So I hope if the proposals that there will be 48 teams that take place in the FIFA 2022 World Cup, I think Kenya has a chance. But if it's 32, then I don't need to lie.
So, and we are not sure if the proposal will go as
Yes.
the FIFA president has had campaigned before. Yeah, we pray so. We'll wait.
Gaucho Central. Now let's move to the international football because we have seen the English Premier League, the Europa, UEFA Champions League, and the Euro. We have the top four race, and also we have the two title contenders. Who is going to win?
I'll say Man City will win the Premier League this season.
And why do you go for Manchester City, not Liverpool?
They're leading the table with 1 point, having less match played City. City played less match than they have one game in hand, to be precise. So even if City will still win with that game in hand, they will lead the table. They will invert with 1 point. Now Liverpool are leading with 2 points, so it will City to lead with 1 point, having won the game in hand. So which they will play with Fulham, I think, on Sunday. So I'll still say Liverpool, even if they win the remaining fixtures, they cannot be consistent. But City can even win with a goal difference. Even if they maintain, City will maintain, I'm sure will maintain this pace. Their current form now, as it stands, their winning streak is very brilliant and very good, in fact. So with the goal difference of like 6 points, goal difference, I think can even make them to land on the Premier League this season. And despite that, they are remaining with fixtures. In their fixtures, the two big games remaining is Tottenham and Man United, right?
Yeah.
So obvious they will cruise to the end, beating both. I even don't say that's a big game for City.
But Manchester United and Man City is a derby.
It's a derby. Yeah, it's a very they are rival. It is a derby, but as we have seen recently, this is not the old Man United we used to know. Maybe I don't know if you are judging with history, but this is a Man City, a reborn Man City led by Guardiola, and this guy has caused wonders in everywhere he has gone, all the way from Spanish, man, the Bundesliga to Premier League. He won the Premier League already. But this guy, the new young, the babyface, the assassin, I don't think my friend can even comment. Yeah, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Now let's have Al-Nur to add on that.
I think I will differ with him on that. I'm backing Liverpool to win the title this year because of the kind of investments Liverpool have made over the last 2-3 years. If you look at the current squad of Liverpool and you compare it with the one Brendan Rodgers had in 2014 when they slipped, I think there's a big difference. They had issues with the goalkeeper, with the keeper. They addressed that issue. They bought Alisson from Roma for 75 million. That's too much money for a keeper.
For a goalkeeper.
Yeah, they bought Virgil van Dijk from Southampton for 75 million pounds. Too much of an investment. In midfield, they have so many options. They have Wijnaldum, they have Milner, they have Fabinho, they have Henderson. The attacking prowess notwithstanding of Firmino, Salah, and Mane. So I think Liverpool, in terms of squad depth and the kind of players they have, and the system that Klopp likes to play, I think he has really found his team for this year. So the remaining fixtures are daunting. They have difficult fixtures. They have Tottenham and they have Chelsea.
Yeah.
But I think Liverpool will find some way of cruising through. And I think the game against Manchester United at Old Trafford, Man City and Manchester United at Old Trafford, that will be very, very interesting. And I think it's going to be the title decider. Because Manchester United are fighting for the top 4 position, Man City are chasing the title. And he said the Manchester United is not like before. But I think he's wrong because Solskjaer has really transformed this team.
He transformed.
He transformed this team, and they have won so many points over the last games. So at home against Manchester United, Manchester City, a derby, I think the motivation is there for the players to really beat this team. They call them the noisy neighbors. To really beat this team and secure themselves a top 4 finish. So I think that's going to be a title decider. So, but I'm still backing Liverpool.
But you know Liverpool, when it comes to the final, like when we look at the record of the Jurgen Klopp back in Dortmund, while he was in Dortmund, he went to the UEFA Champions League final with the Bayern. He lost. He came to Liverpool. He came to the Europa final against Sevilla. He lost. He came to UEFA Champions League final against Real Madrid. He lost.
So
He also lost to City in the League Cup. Was it the League Cup?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, once in penalty shootout.
Now you know when Manchester City, Liverpool were ahead of Manchester City with 10 points. December 2018, when they beat Manchester United, which led to the sack of Mourinho. Manchester City were back, and they were down with 10 points. Now Manchester City came from behind. And now they are almost on the tight running.
Yeah.
So, Alur Jonjo, I think we should not rule out Manchester City.
okay, there's one thing we need to understand clearly. There's one thing we need to understand. Liverpool had the chance to go 10 points on top of the table.
Yeah.
Just over the Christmas period, but they failed terribly. The reason is Liverpool haven't won the league for the last 29 years. I think the media pressure on the players is massive. If I was looking at the game against Bournemouth and the press conference, Klopp was saying that the supporters need to come out and make their voices heard. Anfield is usually a very noisy place. So the fans are also a bit, they are fearing that they might also sleep a second time. So Klopp told them that we don't need to fear. We need to back the team. We need to become the 12th man. We need to raise our voices. We need to make Anfield electric so that our players can really perform and shelve off the media pressure. So I think psychologically, the fact that they haven't won for the last 29 years and they have invested so much money has really gone into the minds of the players. But in terms of the squad they have, I think they're very capable of going far.
Yeah,
What about the injuries? Because now Manchester City, they have only one player who is scoring.
No, let's talk of Liverpool in the squad. Yeah?
Bernardo Silva also is scoring. But when you come to Manchester, when you come back to Liverpool, you will see all strikers, 3 strikers, Firmino, Sadio Mane, Mohamed Salah, all they are scoring.
Yeah, they are not injury-prone strikers,
The scoring,
The squad is good.
When we are talking about the scoring strike, we should include also Manchester City, because Manchester City, from the defender to the striker, they are all scoring. Not like not like Liverpool.
Who are only defending the front 3.
Also include that Liverpool are playing UEFA Champions League, the same as Manchester City. So you should not rule them. You should not say that they are going to win the title. And Liverpool are known to slide.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. As he said, the fans like they are not living in the squad. They have the fear of they might slip off from winning the title. Their squad is good, but the kind of investment they made now, the huge investment Klopp had spent on Liverpool's squad, I think this is not the squad to win the title, because Liverpool had not won the title since I grew up being a football fan. You said 20 years, 26 years, 29 years ago.
29 years.
That's 2 decades, close to 3 decades.
Yes. Yeah.
Then this is not the squad to win. This is not the kind of investment you wait to win with it's just to make the club to be realive. Find all the system, and you need to invest heavily on. He still needs some signings. So I'll say.
And what about Manchester United? Let me cut you off. We have Manchester United, who came from behind, all the way from position 8, now to position 5, winning games with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He was unbeaten, but Arsenal confirmed the beating strike with 2-0, with 2 goals. So why are you ruling out Manchester United? Because the media pressure we are seeing, Manchester United, Ole Gunnar can win the title.
As it stands now, we are not going as the current statistics,
we have 4 teams.
but we have 4 teams who are competing. Arsenal, Chelsea, and Man United. I'll say Tottenham will finish above all of them. Tottenham will finish below Liverpool, which will be finishing the season in 2nd place. Tottenham number 3. Then number 4 it will be between Arsenal and Chelsea. Even Man United I cannot say.
You have to clear the ambiguity and
Yeah.
go for one. Which is between Arsenal and Chelsea?
Arsenal
who will
Chelsea.
finish first?
Arsenal and Chelsea, I'll say Arsenal will finish above Chelsea. They will finish in the 4th, and then it will be Chelsea to do much. They will need to do much in the Europa League so that they secure a chance in the Champions League next season. Yeah.
Due to time, Alnur Jonjo, I want you to talk about Juventus against Ajax, because you have seen Ronaldo has been the king of comebacks from all the way Real Madrid to Juventus. He won with Roma. He beat the other team from the Bundesliga league, and went all the way to win the UEFA Champions League. Now he has knocked out Atletico Madrid, and he has a good record as a king of comeback, and they call him the GOAT, the best player in the world. Do you see him moving to the final?
I think Juventus brought Ronaldo to just win the UEFA Champions League trophy that they have been looking for all these years. I think Juventus have been quite unlucky over the past few years. They have gone to several finals against AC Milan, against Barcelona. So this year, they have a very big chance with the kinds of team left in the Champions League, and Ronaldo, and the kind of system that they play, 3-4-3, with a solid Italian defense, Bonucci and Chiellini, and Cancelo, and a midfield of Pjanic and Matuidi. I think they have a big chance. They have a big chance. So I'm backing. I think the final match will be played between Juventus and Barcelona.
At
Metropolitano, Madrid.
Road to Madrid.
Yeah.
That's
So
a
I
big
think
game to watch.
it will be between Barcelona
It will be a big
and Juventus.
Big match.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm backing Juventus to win.
I'll also still say I'll backing Juventus.
Juventus.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure Barcelona and Juventus are the most
Favorites,
favorites.
yeah.
They will be the finalists, but Juventus will win.
It's the first time in history, Messi versus Ronaldo in a UEFA Champions League final. We will see who is the GOAT.
Yeah,
It will be June, and we will not forget the dates. Next time, we will talk on more issues on the Euro and everything. As we stand now, let's hope Juventus will win.
Juventus will win.
Okay.
It will be a new El Clasico between Ronaldo, an individual player between Ronaldo and Messi. Yeah,
Okay.
outside the Spanish divisions.
Thank you for joining me, Alnur Jonjo and Gaucho Central.
Thank you, Mudopia Abdul.
That's all we had for today. Hope you have enjoyed the show. Join me next week, same place, same time, only on Side Play. And I'm your host, Mahmoud Abdullahi.